Hey everyone, this is Rachel. Thanks for clicking on my video. And this is the last part of Steve Harvey versus Mary Harvey. And this one is going to be pretty long because it is going to wrap up Mary's story. And then I want to give my opinion on everything that happened to Mary. So after I did the last video, I thought about what was most important in all of this. And that is Mary and Steve's son, Winton. And when I thought about Winton, I felt really sorry for him because I wondered during all these years that Mary was being kept from her son, what was being told to her son? What did Steve tell Winton during those years about why he couldn't see his mother? Because when children are raised in a home with both their parents and the parents split, what I have learned having gone through a divorce myself is those children don't love either parent more than they love the other. So when Winton was taken from his mother, I know he had to ask questions. He was about 11 years old. Weren't there times that Winton, asked, why can't I see my mom, or when am I going to go see my mom? And what did Steve say to him? Now, Mary says, and as I said in the past few videos, everything that I'm going to say, I have gotten directly from the videos that Mary put out. Okay? Mary says that there were times when Winton's phone was taken from him and his computer was taken from him. So not only was Winton not allowed to see his mom, he couldn't talk to her, he couldn't send her emails, he couldn't text her. Why? You know, if Steve loves his son like he claims that he does when he's on his television show, you do what's best for the child. Now, Mary was never, you know, told that by the courts that, she wasn't able to see her son. There is no court order denying Mary access to her son. This access that Mary didn't get came directly from Steve. And I just don't understand that. Because, like Mary said, even women who are in prison have access to their children. Why didn't Mary? I thought about Mary and everything with Steve, and I asked myself, what was Mary's crime? In Steve's mind, what did Mary do to him? To make him treat her the way that he did when they decided to split. Because let's remember, y'all, Steve didn't file from divorce from Mary. Mary filed for divorce from Steve. And when I thought about Mary and everything that she said, the only crime that I see that Mary committed was loving Steve and trusting him to do right by her. That's what I see her crime is. Here's a woman that, had stuck it out with the man for 16 years. Um, you know, she had filed for divorce 3 or 4 times because he was unfaithful to her. Eventually, on the fourth time, she decided that this was it and she was going to leave and the marriage was going to be over. But I think that in Mary's head, she never thought that Steve would do all of this to her. So that's why I say, to me, Mary's only crime was loving him and trusting him. She probably thought back to when they first got together and how they had struggled to make Steve a success. And she probably said, well, the marriage is over, but me and this man have been through ups and downs. He's going to do right by me. And she trusted him. I don't understand that. And my next question after I watch Mary's videos is, was it wrong for Mary to speak out? Is that what Steve's mad at? Does she not have a right, after everything that she had gone through, to speak up? That wasn't only Steve's story. Their marriage, their life together, their divorce was Mary's story too. The reason why Steve didn't want her to speak up is because it would shine a negative light on him. And I say, for that, Steve, then you should have done the right thing by this woman. I don't understand that. Also, was it wrong for Mary to tell what had happened to her, to go into detail? Because under Mary's videos, if you go watch them, there are a bunch of people that are saying that it was wrong for her to put her business out in the street like that. Adults don't do that. And that she was being messy. And that she was just an angry, bitter, jealous ex-wife. But if you were getting nowhere, what else are you to do? Also, it's been 12 years. Was it wrong for Mary to keep fighting for her child? Is she wrong? Think about the story that I told you about when Winton was born. Mary has to think about that her baby almost died. She almost died. And then Steve takes that baby from her. Is she just supposed to forget that she, in 1996, birthed a little baby by the name of Winton? Because they divorced, was Mary just supposed to forget Winton and go on about her life? Is that fair to her? Now, Mary accuses Steve, Marjorie, and Steve's lawyers of forging her name on documents while this divorce was going on and during, the aftermath of the divorce. She accuses them of, signing her name on properties that were jointly owned by her and Steve, signing her rights away. And she says that she has those documents and proof that that's not her signature. Why, Steve? My God. To me, it looks like Steve went to work to make sure that Mary did not get any sizable chunk of his over $100 million. That was the amount that Steve was valued at when they divorced. Mary says that Steve went to court and told the judges that he had built everything, that everything that he had on the day that they divorced, Mary had no part of it. He did it all himself. Why didn't the judge say something to Steve like this? Mr. Harvey, that may be true. However, this woman was with you for 16 years, and you still owe her alimony and child support. Why didn't the judge say that to Steve? These are the questions that make you question and side-eye Steve and this whole story. And then you wonder who was there representing Mary's best interest. because Steve was covered like a motherfucker. But you remember I told you that they shared the same lawyer. There was one attorney for both of them. That is a conflict of interest. And to show you that it was, when Mary walked out of there, Mary didn't have anything. For the 16 years that she has spent supporting and being with that man and being by his side, Mary walked away with nothing. And the reason why I believe that that happened is because there was no one in that courtroom during any of those divorce proceedings that had Mary's best interest in mind. Everyone there, it seems like, were trying to protect the assets of this celebrity, Steve Harvey. Now think about it. There was no prenup because remember, when Mary and Steve got together back in 1989, Steve had no money. Even when they actually married, because remember, Mary says they dated and lived together from 1989 through 1996 when they married. Even on the day that they married, Steve didn't have any money. Like Mary said, he was just a struggling comedian. But they made a commitment together to work towards Steve's dream. And Mary was there every step of the way. I don't get it. And then, after listening to Mary's story and how Steve evicted her from a house that was awarded to her by the courts, how was that possible? You know, when Mary found out this was happening and she went to the courts and explained to them what Steve was doing, you know, more than likely, she said, this is a house that you guys awarded to me and he's kicking me out of it. Well, she was kicked out, so no one helped her when she went to the courts. You guys see why this woman is speaking out? Do you understand why she can't let it go? Any of us who had gone through this, just in our little, everyday non-millionaire lives, we would still fight. We would still fight. Mary tried to let it go, but at every turn, they were taking everything away from her. So you're awarded a home. After he swindled you out of another home, he made her sign off on accepting basically $1 million from him. He basically bought her out of the other home. Needing the money, Mary took it. She probably thought, okay, well, I get this money and I still have a house to live in, a house for me in Winton. And then Steve comes back and takes that house from her. Y'all, come on. You don't have any sympathy for Mary? It's all about Steve and, his celebrity. Another question that I just don't understand. Y'all, I've been divorced. Why was there no equitable division of their assets? The assets that were acquired during the 16 years of them being together, 10 of which Mary was married to Steve. Why? What judge let Steve walk out of there and there was no equitable division of assets? How did Mary walk out of there with, she says, she was told that she was going to be given $40,000 a month, and that was in 2005. She didn't start getting that money for 4 years. And during that time, he didn't pay her alimony. And once 2009 came and she started getting the $40,000, she got it for 10 months, and that was it. Mary accused Steve of manipulating the courts against her. She accuses him of possibly paying off judges and lawyers. With everything that I've heard, I'm inclined to believe that what she's saying is true. And the reason why I say that is because she didn't get anything. Y'all think about these celebrities that are divorcing now. I used in the last video Carmelo and Lala Anthony. Lala is going to get something. She was with Carmelo, what, almost 10 years? He's valued at $200 million. And I talked about how they more than likely had a prenup, but they're saying that Lala is entitled to something. So if Lala is, why isn't Mary? You know, why isn't Mary, or wasn't Mary entitled to anything? Now, like I said, I believe Mary when she says that she believes that there were some judges paid off and there were some lawyers paid off. I I don't know. Now, about this time, after all of this had happened, it was around 2011. Mary had been through everything: the divorce, her child being taken, her home being taken, him not paying her alimony, him not giving her anything, having to sell her interest in a home and being cheated out of that. So Mary made those YouTube videos, the infamous YouTube videos that went viral. And after those videos were made, the network news came a calling. And Mary did a couple interviews. I even heard an interview that she did with Tom Joyner on his radio show in the morning. And when I listened to that video, I think they were a little disrespectful to Mary. Mary was trying to explain, that none of this was her doing. She was the victim in this. But I noticed Tom Joyner kept saying, like, well, how do we get past this? How do we, with your lawyers? And Mary said, I don't even have a lawyer. I don't have a lawyer. This is not my doing. Everything is being done to me. But Tom Joyner, I believe, at the time, was Steve Harvey's friend, because Steve Harvey had set in when Tom Joyner was on vacation. So, he probably looked at Mary as like a gold-digging ex-wife who was trying to get a come up off this now celebrity that was Steve Harvey. He wasn't listening to what Mary was saying. And I think that Mary seems to be quiet spoken and not one of those raising hell type of women. We sit up and watch these white celebrities and their spouses. Them women get paid. We might say, she broke up with him, but she got her money. Look at when Tiger Woods cheated on his wife with all those women. Tiger Williams' wife got paid. And Tiger Williams' wife was not there from the beginning, like Mary was. But when Tiger Woods and her divorced, Tiger Woods' ex-wife took a sizable chunk of his money with her. And I'm pretty sure Tiger Woods had a prenup and all of that. And like I said, that broad had not been with Tiger Woods since Tiger Woods started learning how to play golf. Mary had been with Steve since 1989, all the way up to 2005. And you're telling me that she didn't deserve anything? So it's like Mary was left with no options. The courts weren't helping her. She wasn't going to get anything from Steve. So basically what she did is she took her story public. And then the public beat her down too. You know, They told her she needed to get over it, that she was trying to go after Steve's money because Steve was now with Marjorie and Mary was jealous. See, the thing was, Mary knew the real story and she couldn't keep it in. She knew what had been done to her. She knew that all the lies that Steve and Marjorie had told about how they met. Imagine you're sitting at home. They have taken your child, your home, your income. You don't have anything. And then everybody's telling you that you're wrong. I had to put myself in Mary's place. Like I said, when I first watched her videos back in 2011, I kind of dismissed it. I didn't even really think about it. I watched one video and I was like, that's interesting. And I never thought about Mary again. So I asked, is Mary wrong for speaking up? Or is that what we're saying to her? Is she wrong? What I get from it is Mary was trusting, and she trusted Steve to do the right thing. But you know what Steve did? Steve showed her who was in control. Whatever Steve wanted, that's what happened. He took the wealth when he left her. He took her child when he left her. He took her home. And he had cheated on her with Marjorie for several years. And then Mary had to sit and watch them concoct this beautiful love story on television. She had to sit there and watch them parade her child around, knowing that she didn't have any access to her baby. Couldn't even talk to him. That's what Mary had to go through. So after the YouTube videos, during that time, Steve was in talks with Oprah to do a talk show. Now, y'all know Oprah don't like mess. When Oprah got wind of Mary's videos, I believe Oprah, she has a team that investigates everything. And honestly, I believe Oprah believed Mary because Oprah backed out of the talks that she was having with Steve to do a talk show with him. Oh, that had to burn Steve up. It had to burn him up. Oprah backed out. He probably, when Oprah came a calling, he probably told Marjorie, oh shit, we going to the big time now. We got Oprah. And then Oprah watched those videos, or those videos that Mary did were brought to Oprah's attention. And Oprah said, wait a minute, I don't like mess. She probably did her investigation, went to Steve and said, is any of this true? He didn't want to go in and say, well, yeah, she's telling the truth. He probably him and hawed or told Oprah some story, that Mary was a bitter bitch. But Oprah, being Oprah, said, you know what, that might be, but I don't think I want to fuck with you. And she pulled out. Now, I believe that, of course, he blamed Mary for that. And you know what he did? Steve filed a lawsuit against Mary in Texas. And I believe in this lawsuit, it was a lawsuit to gag Mary from speaking out about her marriage, her divorce, them taking her child. They gagged her. Now, a little bit after that, it gets a little confusing. Now, Mary heard through her lawyer, now this is all coming from Mary, that there was a warrant out for her arrest. And, she wasn't sure what it was for. So what Mary did is Mary went to the police station. Do y'all know that fucking with Steve, Mary was arrested twice? Now, let me just tell you about the first time. It was, she heard that there was a warrant out for her arrest. So, when you're she didn't kill anyone or anything, and so she felt comfortable going to the police station and asking them, I heard through my attorney that there is a warrant out for my arrest. And basically, Mary says that when she first went there, you know, when she first got there, they checked and they said that there wasn't a warrant. They couldn't find anything. Hold on. Mary says she sat there. She said next thing she knew, someone came out and told her, "Oh yeah, we did find something." And they arrested her for failure to pay child support. Y'all heard me right. Mary was arrested for failure to pay child support. Now, that's why I say this is confusing. Why would Mary be forced to pay child support? First of all, according to Mary, there was never a child support, uh, you know, thing put against her. The child support was supposed to be paid to her by Steve. Remember in the last video, I said that Steve was ordered to pay her $1,000 a month in child support. So what happened when Mary went to that police station? When that person went in the back and at first told Mary, "No, I can't find anything, but hold on." What happened when that police official or whoever that person went in the back? What did they find when they went back there? When they came back out and said, "Well, hold on, there is something, that I found, and we have to arrest you for failure to pay child support." Now, Mary says that she has proof of all of this. So they arrested her, and Mary was in jail. And this was all Steve's doing. No explanation for it because there was never an order put against Mary for child support. Mary did her time and got out. You see, this is why I believe Mary, because of all the things that are weird that were done to her. Why, if Steve was ordered to pay child support, why was Mary put in jail for that? It's crazy, y'all. Now, before Mary got out, or right after she got out, or around that time, Steve and his lawyers prepared a letter that they wanted Mary to sign. Now, check this out, y'all. The letter that they wanted Mary to sign off on basically stated that everything that Mary had said in her YouTube videos was a lie. They wanted her to sign off on that, along with they wanted her to say, because they had written it up in the letter, that Steve had held up his part of the marriage. There was no cheating, there was no abuse, and there was nothing. Now, in that letter was also like some wording that they hadn't colluded to rob Mary of what was rightfully hers when the marriage ended. Now, all of this was included in the letter. What it was is they realized they had her arrested. They had her on the ropes. She was vulnerable, and now let's hit her with this letter. But you know what? Thank God that even after everything that Mary had gone through with Steve, something in Mary told her not to sign it, so she didn't. She actually has a copy of the letter that they wanted her to sign. Now think about it. They done took her son. Steve done cheated on her with a Marjorie. Now her son is living with the mistress, her ex-husband. They done left Mary penniless and homeless. And now they want her to sign a letter to say everything that she said that Steve did to her was a goddamn lie. Steve is something else, y'all. Steve is something else. Now, sadly, I heard that Mary may have had like a slight nervous breakdown during this time. She checked out. She had given up. She didn't have no fight in her no more. They had done everything, taken everything from this woman. How much could she take? Now, they said Mary had family around her. She had friends that were trying to support her. But her well of being able to fight the machine that was Steve, had run dry. And she checked out for a few years. You know? She had to get herself together. I guess, after that first time of being put in jail after everything that happened to her, Mary was like, you know what? I just can't take it anymore. Now, during that time that Mary checked out, it was a couple years, I guess she was getting herself together. But I think when Mary was sitting around and gathering herself after her little breakdown, she still couldn't get past what was done to her. And the fact that not only was everything done to her, but she was without her child. So you know what she did? Mary spoke up again. She came back out again. She couldn't let it go. Now, around this time, it was 2013. And, there was the gag order against Mary that, Steve had placed on her after the Oprah thing and, her being in jail and all of that. So there was a gag order around 2013. And when Mary came back after gathering herself, after breaking down, and she spoke out again, you know what happened? Steve had her arrested again. He sure did. A week before Christmas in 2013. And Mary was released after the new year of 2014 on Steve's birthday. Isn't that ironic? This is a woman that had no power. That Steve, the machine that is Steve Harvey, totally dictated what her life was. And, I think about this. Remember I said she was arrested the week before Christmas. What did Steve tell Winton? How do you have your child's mother arrested and thrown in jail at Christmas? Mary was no threat to him other than speaking out, saying what was done to her. Hell, wasn't nobody paying attention to her. Didn't nobody believe her. But she couldn't give up. Is she wrong for fighting, y'all? Is she wrong? I take my hat off to her because I think that time when they threw me in jail, I think I would have been done. But this woman has something inside her that just won't give up. That's a well of strength that shows you that Mary is a good person. She just wants what's right. And then, like I said, how did Steve explain that to Winton? In 2013, Winton was about 17 years old. He understood what had happened to his mother. How the fuck did Steve explain that to him? I don't know, y'all. This story with Mary, it bothers me for her. We as the public are swayed by what we see on television. There are people out here that are so caught up in these celebrities, so caught up in their lives and, the PR team that's behind them, keeping their images squeaky clean and making them seem like superhumans. We watch Steve and Marjorie on television. And like I said, Marjorie is a beautiful woman. But my question is, when did Steve meet Marjorie? When did he meet her? And why was Marjorie, that home wrecking hoe, using the name Harvey in 2002, 2003, 2004, and 2005. Why was she using the last name Harvey? She wasn't married to him then. Marjorie was. But Miss Marjorie, Lady Heroin, who Steve had put up in the house and bought her a car and paying her bills, she was feeling good. She knew it's just a matter of time before she pulled Steve away from his wife. So she felt comfortable using that name because she knew eventually she would be Mrs. Steve Harvey. Y'all, Mary and Steve's baby Winton now is about 21 years old. Mary lost all of those years with her child. Think back. No prom, no seeing him play Little League, no just going through the things that a mother goes through when she's raising her child, her son. Seeing his little mustache come in and teaching him about girls. Mary missed all that. It was taken from her. She didn't give it away. Steve took it from her. And then when you think about Winton, how did Winton end up with Steve? If no court gave him sole custody, how did he just take him from his mother? That shows you Mary had no power. She was telling people, he took my baby. Didn't nobody believe her? Why did he do that to Mary? And then, y'all, why is it that Mary can't get a copy of her divorce decree and the gag order that Steve placed on her? Why is that sealed from her? She's the one that filed the divorce. That shit is crazy, y'all. If there are people out there that still believe in Steve Harvey, I'm done with the soup cooler, big potato head motherfucker after this. I don't respect any man that is so intent on breaking a woman. And that's what Steve did to Mary. He broke her. Marriages end every single day, y'all. Every day. People split. This person goes this way and that person goes that way. But my thing with Steve is leave. Go with Marjorie. Hell, Mary filed for divorce. It wasn't like you filed against her and she was trying to hang on. All Mary wanted was Steve to do right by her. After all she had gone through and all of the love that she had given him, all she asked for was for him to do right by her. And this is what he does to her? I think the worst thing for Mary was him taking her baby. I think if they had given Winton back to Mary, Mary would have found her a little house, raised Winton, and, said, you know what, I'll chuck the money up. I think if they had given Winton back, Mary would have said, go on, take your money, be with Marjorie. But to take her baby too, you left her homeless, broke, and without her child. Steve was trying to break her. And I don't know if it was because she did the YouTube videos and Oprah backed out the deal. I don't know if it was just that. Because he was doing stuff to her before that. Steve is what my grandmother and the older women in my family call a dirty motherfucker. When he leave you, he wants you to be, broke, destitute, and all that. But I'm going to tell you something about karma, y'all. If everything that Mary says is true, if Steve did all this stuff to this woman, and all she did was loved him. I said that the only thing that I see that Mary's guilty of is loving him and trusting him to do right by her. If he did all this stuff to this lady, he's going to get this back. What does Nene Leak say? You never win when you're doing dirty. You never win. Now, Steve, oh Lord, right now he is so, prosperous, and he has a new show coming and all of that. But are there ever times when he looks at Winton and says, ooh, what I did to your mother, or what I continue to do to your mother, I'm going to get that back. You got to have a hard ass soul to look in the face of your child and know that you destroyed that child's mother and you didn't miss a step. You all on television parading your mistress around, fabricating these fairy tales, love stories, and all that. There are even pictures of Winton, Mary's baby, all hugged up on this home wrecking hoe. Oh Lord. Wherever Mary is, I wish her all the peace. I hope she's found someone to love her and take care of her. Mary's a beautiful woman. She carries herself so elegantly. I don't think Marjorie has anything on Mary. You know why I say that? Because despite whatever they threw at Mary, Mary is still standing. Mary may have had some bumps and hills and valleys in these last 12 years, but what I see with Mary is every time they knock her down, every time they count Mary out, Mary comes back. And she keeps on speaking out, no matter how many people tell her she's crazy, she's jealous, she's this. Because I think for Mary, even though Winton is an adult now, she is now thinking about what she lost with her child. You know? Y'all, this is the end of Mary's story. There is a petition out there that an activist that has taken interest in Mary's story. The activist's name is Essie Berry. And if you want to go to change.org, I think that's what it's on, or just look for Essie Berry here on YouTube. She has a whole series of videos about Mary. She too has taken up Mary's cause. Because when you watch Mary's videos, if you're a decent person with with a heart, you can see through everything and tell that this woman is sincere. One thing that made me do the videos, Mary's story has never changed. From the time Mary, put out those first videos back in 2011 and started trying to get her story out there, it has been consistent. No deviation from how she lays out the story. You know why? Because what she's saying is the truth. When you're telling the truth, it doesn't change. The truth is the truth. And that's what made me believe her. It's weird that Steve he's not answering Mary. He's not taking her to court and all that. Think about that. Mary's on here telling her truth in 2017. She's back, looking fierce as ever. She's not glamorous. Mary is one of these classy looking black women that carries herself well. And I'm so in awe of her strength. In our everyday life, like I said, I've been through a divorce too. But mine was on a private scale. We didn't have what Mary and Steve had. We had a child or whatever, children. In my case, the man didn't try to take my child from me. It's bad enough dealing with the aftermath of a divorce, but to have your man cheat on you, he end up with the mistress, and he takes your child too to go live with the mistress. Well, y'all, that is the end of my little videos. And Mary watches these. I just want to say, girl, they tried to break you. but you still standing. You are a testament of strength. You are a testament of strength. And I know you've lost all these years with Winton Mary, but in the end, a child eventually learns the truth. And one day, you're going to get a chance to sit down with Winton, and he's going to have some questions for you. And because the truth is on your side, Mary, you'll get your baby back. It might be a while, you know, you'll get your baby back. And you'll also see the demise of Mr. Steve Harvey. Because, like I said, Mary, karma is a bitch. And with that, y'all, thank you so much for watching my videos. All three of them. If you did, pray for Mary and pray that she gets the justice that she deserves. As always, you guys, I'll see you in the next video. You take care. Bye-bye now.